This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
Well, as you all know, I was all in on Trump, and 11 days I was hoping for Trump. I was rooting for Trump. I was planning to vote for Trump, but then Bruce Springsteen sang me a song. I'm having second thoughts because Bruce, 75-year-old Bruce, came out on stage and sang an acoustic song, and now I'm wavering. Now I'm thinking twice here. And then Ben Stiller and Andy Cohen said I should support Kamala because then I'll be assured that my daughter will be able to kill my grandchildren. So I'm wavering now. It's tough, when Samuel L. Jackson and Tyler Perry, Beyonce is going to sing me a song. I think that's tonight. She might push me over the edge. I might have to change my vote. If she's good, if she performs well, unlike Bruce. See, I like Bruce. It's tough to like Bruce these days, but I grew up with Bruce. Born to Run's the greatest album ever made. I listened to Bruce for years. I've seen him many, many times. It is probably the best concert I've ever seen, but cranky old Bruce is out there stumping for Hillary. Yeah, Hillary. And Kamala. What's the difference at this point? The difference is Hillary's smart. That's the difference. She's evil, but she's smart. Kamala is not smart. But they're bringing out the big guns. And I will say this. Here's my rule for celebrity endorsers. If none of the issues affects your life, none of the things we're voting on affects you, I don't care what you have to say. When Trump was in North Carolina, speaking to some of the victims of Hurricane Helene, that was powerful. That was effective. When I see man on the street interviews or see some of these appearances in barber shops, that matters. These are real people with real problems caused by Kamala Harris, problems that Trump is promising to fix. That matters. When you look at someone like Springsteen or Beyonce or Ben Stiller, they don't know what it's like. It doesn't matter to them that prices have spiked, that gas and food and housing costs more, much more because of the policies of Biden and Harris. They don't care that we have a wide open border. They don't care that that Venezuelan gangs have taken over apartment buildings. It doesn't matter to them that we might go to war for Ukraine. Their kids aren't going to war. You think Springsteen's kids or grandkids are going to go to war in Ukraine or in the Middle East? It doesn't matter. Literally, none of the things we're voting on matter to any of these people. I'm pretty sure Ben Stiller's daughter will still be able to get an abortion if Trump wins. That doesn't even matter. So they're doing what the Harris team is hoping people will do. Vote on a vibe, vote on emotion. That's what Hollywood people do. Actors, actresses, singers, they vote on emotion. That's all. That's what matters to them. Prices, that doesn't matter to them. Crime, what do they care? You think Ben Stiller's affected by crime in the big cities? It doesn't matter. They just have a vibe and they hate Trump. That's all this is. This is a referendum on Trump. Do you hate him enough to vote for someone who is utterly incompetent, who is not smart, who doesn't have the ability, the skill, the talent to do the job? They don't care. It's all about stopping Trump, who is now known as Hitler. You must stop Hitler. So vote for this incompetent airhead, this vapid, vacant, soulless vessel that they have installed as the candidate. That's where we're at right now. If you are on the fence, listen to Bruce Springsteen, listen to Tyler Perry and Samuel L. Jackson. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think, in general, celebrity endorsements work at all for the reasons I just mentioned. They don't live in the real world. They're not affected by any of the things we talk about every day. So who cares what they have to say? Let's focus on the issues. When you look at the issues, the policies, the two candidates, it's a binary choice. You have someone who was already president for 4 years and did a damn good job. By any metric, by any measure, did a good job. Now, you can't turn around and convince the average voter that he's Hitler if he's already served 4 years. You can't convince the average voter that Trump is going to use the military. I was just watching MSNBC. I do it pretty much every morning just for laughs. And Joe Scarborough said he's going to arrest Nancy Pelosi. He's going to arrest Nancy. I'm not sure for what, but he's going to arrest Nancy Pelosi and he's going to shut down CBS News. Does anyone believe that Donald Trump is going to shut down CBS News? Again, if he really wanted to do these things, why didn't he do them 4 years ago? Why didn't he do them when he was in the White House for 4 years? Why didn't he arrest Hillary Clinton when he had the chance? There were people who wanted him to. Sure, she sure as hell committed crimes. She sure as hell obstructed justice, destroyed evidence. He didn't do it. So now you have to believe these lunatics who belong in insane asylums. You have to believe, Keith Olbermann. You have to believe Mika Brzezinski, who says Donald Trump is killing women. Yes, one of the big stars at NBC News, Mrs. Joe Scarborough, went on the air yesterday and got really emotional. I think she was ready to cry and made the case that Donald Trump is going to kill women, is killing women. Do we have Mika Ironhead? Because this is priceless. This is like peak Trump derangement syndrome. These people aren't well. To me, this is, one more reason to vote for Trump, just so you can see how they handle things on November 6th. It is something to see, something to watch. Do we got Mika Ironhead?
Is cozying up to dictators, his obsession with Hitler that has now come out, what he has said about our veterans, and what he wants to do with the military against his political adversaries. It's all huge news. This is the future that we're looking at in the next Trump term, if there is one. But this is what voters know right now, that he is killing us. I'm talking about us women. He's killing us. He is putting us at risk. He is making us afraid to have babies. He is putting our reproductive health at risk, and some women have died already because of this. So we can see right now what's coming. These headlines, and very good reporting, by the way, that shouldn't be questioned by idiots about what Trump has said about Hitler. That's incredibly important to know. But I do understand that people who are busy and that are people who are just tapping in may not be able to comprehend, because we've been free. We've been comfortable. We cannot comprehend that. And I understand that. I validate that it is hard to go from here to there. It is where we're going. I hope we don't find out the hard way. But what's happening with women right now is real, and it is playing out across America.
He's killing women. Mika won't be able to have babies if you vote for Trump. Uh-oh, Joe. That means you guys can't have a baby. Joe and Mika won't be able to have a baby if you vote for Trump. He's killing women. God, they've just lost it. They've lost their minds. And to me, it's not about Trump anymore. It's about a choice. And people are looking at the two options and they're saying, one guy was president, one guy knows how to do the job. He's not dumb. He might be a little uncontrollable. He's not dumb. The other candidate is dumb, and they know it now. She was leading in the polls. This is going to be the when history is written. They're going to say they kept her hidden for 2 months, and it worked. They let the media lie. They let the media do their campaigning for them, and it worked, just like it worked 4 years ago. And then they decided she can't hide forever. She must answer some questions. She must go before the voters and make her case. That's when it all fell apart. That's when people got a look at this absolutely unqualified mess of a candidate. I looked this up 4 years ago in the 2020 election. There were 29 candidates on the Democrats' side at the start, 29, including people like Tom Steyer and Seth Moulton and Kamala Harris. She was on her own. She had to go to the debates and do interviews. That's when she's on record saying all the crazy things she said about opening the border and giving illegal aliens Medicare and trans surgeries for murderers and illegal aliens and stopping fracking and drilling and everything. All her core beliefs came out 4 years ago, and the voters rejected her completely. She was polling between 1% and 2%. She wasn't even getting any traction in California. She was a terrible candidate. She withdrew in December of 2019, didn't make it to the first primary. They wanted no part of this woman. In the debates, she called Joe Biden a racist and a sexist and a sexual predator. And then Tulsi Gabbard destroyed her, and it was over. She was done. That was when she was an actual candidate. This time, they picked her. They anointed her in July. They had no choice. They had to get rid of the guy with dementia. And Kamala was in the way. They couldn't open it up because she wouldn't agree to it. So they had to hand the reins to her. That was the only option. You couldn't just kick aside the first black woman VP. And she said, it's me or nothing. So they had to go with her. They knew the media would fall in line. They knew the media would do their campaigning for them. And it worked until she actually had to step in front of the cameras, until she actually had to do interviews and appearances. And every one has been worse than the last. It doesn't matter who does the interview. It doesn't matter if it's Dana Bash or Hallie Jackson. It doesn't matter how easy the questions are. It doesn't matter how prepared she is, although I don't think she's very well prepared, even though she says that's her weakness. She prepares too much. So she goes to a town hall in Pennsylvania 2 nights ago with Anderson Cooper, CNN. Anderson Cooper wants her to win as much as anybody. He despises Donald Trump. He wants to help. But Anderson Cooper has a little shred of dignity left. He likes to pretend he's a journalist. And sometimes he goes through the motions. And he asks her obvious questions, not tough questions. I mean, just what you'd expect. In fact, the questions she struggles with the most are the most obvious, the most predictable. Maybe she was even given these questions in advance. It wouldn't be necessary because you'd know they're coming. And what we saw in Pennsylvania was, in a way, her worst performance yet. It was uncomfortably bad. It was painfully bad. And even on CNN, they had to admit it was a disaster. David Axelrod, Democrat operative, big Obama guy, called it word salad city. It was just a mess. I want to play 2 clips because they're so incredibly revealing and so incredibly bad. Here's what the most amazing bit. They're essentially the same question. So forget the fact that she can't handle questions that she gets in advance. She can't even handle questions that she just got in the same town hall, in the same appearance. You can see her struggling to think, what am I supposed to say here? This is a question. Somebody said it would be a question for like a 14-year-old kid who's trying to get into a high school, like a boarding school. This is a question they would ask him. This is a question you would ask people running for class president in the 8th grade. It is so predictable. It's expected. And she just botched it to the point that even her staunchest supporters on CNN were just in They were in awe at her absolute ineptitude. I want to start with the whatever undecided voter. They pretend they're all under. They had one undecided voter who was a woman with big glasses who was a professor at some college. Yeah, sure. She's about as undecided as I am. But they bring up some voters, alleged undecided voters, to ask questions. And one guy asks what is an obvious question. Do you have any regrets? Did you make any mistakes? That's what you ask somebody who's the incumbent. It's along the same lines as what would you do differently? Another question she can't answer. But let's go to that question from that undecided voter asking her about what mistakes she made. Go ahead.
What weaknesses do you bring to the table, and how do you plan to overcome them while you're in office?
That's a great question, Joe. Well, I am certainly not perfect. So let's start there. And I think that perhaps a weakness, some would say, but I actually think it's a strength, is I really do value having a team of very smart people around me who bring to my decision-making process different perspectives. My team will tell you, I am constantly saying, let's kick the tire on that. Let's kick the tires on it.
I work too hard.
Her weakness. I value other people's perspectives. What? That question. I mean, just say I could be stubborn. I can be whatever. Pig-headed. Maybe I show up late. I don't know. Come up with something. It's not hard. It's what you're supposed to do. It gets worse. She's literally asked essentially the same question by Anderson Cooper, and it gets worse. Anderson Cooper was trying to help. He was handing her softballs, and she couldn't make contact. It was just so uncomfortable. Let's listen to the second question about her, regrets and mistakes in the same appearance. This is like a couple of minutes apart. Go ahead.
Is there something you can point to in your life, political life, or in your life in the last 4 years that you think is a mistake that you have learned from?
I mean, I've made many mistakes.
Okay, name one.
They range from, if you've ever parented a child, you make lots of mistakes too. In my role as vice president, I mean, I've probably worked very hard at making sure that I am well versed on issues. And I think that is very important. It's a mistake not to be well versed on an issue and feel compelled to answer a question.
What? First of all, the parenting, she didn't do any parenting. She has no kids of her own. She married Doug Emhoff, and we'll get to Dougie, when his kids were 16 and 20. One was gone off to college. The other was 16. What parenting mistakes did you make as their mamala when the youngest kid was 16, when you actually moved in with the family? And the other one is what? She values other. She's so bad at this. She has to continue this media blitz. Her media blitz began 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago with The View and Colbert. And there's not one moment where you say, okay, I was wrong. She can handle it. She's not over her head. Not one. It hasn't happened. It won't happen. She can't do it. And even CNN is coming to that realization. They had a panel and everyone on it was like, oh man. Even Van Jones said he's tired of the word salads. Well, what else are you going to get? That's all she's capable of. We have the montage of the reaction. This is Scott, the great Scott Jennings is in here, but for the most part, these are Kamala voters, Kamala supporters. These are people who are heartbroken that their candidate is such a disaster, but they have to be honest at some point. They have to admit she's just not up for the job. Listen to this.
When she doesn't want to answer a question, her habit is to kind of go to word salad city. And she did that on a couple of answers. One was on Israel. Anderson asked a direct question, would you be stronger on Israel than Trump? And there was a 7-minute answer, but none of it related to the question he was asking.
She doesn't have to be flawless, but she has to give you something. I mean, she's like a true double threat. You know, she's terrible on her feet when she gets unexpected questions. And simultaneously, she can't even answer the expected questions. It's nothing, nothing, nothing. You think she'd be prepared to do this by now. You know, what's a mistake you've made? Nothing. What's a weakness you have? Nothing. What's the first law you want to pass? Nothing. What's a policy difference between you and Joe Biden? Nothing. Over and over and over. Empty, empty, empty. If she were an animal, she'd be a duck-billed platitude. But look, it's a total word salad.
Focused a lot more on Donald Trump, I think it's fair to say, than she did on many specifics in terms of what she would do as president. But she did go into some of her plans for small businesses.
Well, I'll just tell you what I'm hearing from people who I have been talking to, and that is that if her goal was to close the deal, they're not sure she did that. And, you know, some people have asked, is she being held to a different standard? Maybe, but that's maybe the world that she's living in. And on the question of who she is, people are understanding that a little bit more, but what she will do, the question about her legislative priorities, name one, there wasn't one.
I think that the word salad stuff gets on my nerves. I think that some of the evasions are not necessary, but when she's talking about trying to get you a house, I believe her.
Mm-hmm. Kamala Harris participated in a one-person debate last night, and she lost. Okay, she was asked direct questions, and she provided very circular answers. My colleagues Van Jones and David Axelrod and others noted that, you know, she provided word salad answers. And, you know, Anderson would ask her specifically direct questions, and she didn't provide an answer to them. When asked, Anderson asked the best question all night. Why didn't you do this 4 years ago? Why haven't you been doing this? 10-minute answer, didn't answer the question. So
she won a one-person debate and she lost. That is the perfect summation. That's what she does when she is by herself with a friendly interviewer in front of hand-picked voters with pre-scripted questions. She loses. She can't win a one-person debate. How does that change in the next 11 days? What changes? I understand the media will come up with some more October surprises. The hoax, the Hitler hoax, failed. It fizzled out. It didn't work as much as Mika and Hillary Clinton wanted to work. It didn't work. We know Trump. Everyone knows Trump. Trump's an open book. Trump's not Hitler. Only Hitler is Hitler. No one thinks he's going to arrest Nancy Pelosi or shut down CBS. That's all they've got. They got lies and hoaxes and lies. It's looking good for Trump, who will sit down with Joe Rogan today. I got questions about this one. Joe, how long? Will it be 3 hours? Typical Joe Rogan interview. Joe Rogan likes to swear. He drops the F-bomb. Will Trump drop the F-bomb? I'm going to call this an even bet, Ironhead. Yes or no? Will Trump drop the F-bomb today on Rogan?
Yeah, I think he'll get him riled up enough to say it.
I'm going to predict no. I'm going to say he drops the, S-bomb and a few other swear words, and I'm going to predict they have some laughs. Rogan was asked what he will do, what the line of questioning will be, what he really wants to know, and it was about the deep state. I want to know what it's like. What's the deep state? What's the the establishment in D.C.? What's it like to walk in there, to walk into the FBI building or one of these big bureaucracies, look around? These people, all of them, every one of them, are rooting hard for Kamala Harris. Another reason to support Donald Trump, to annoy the deep state, to disrupt the deep state. It's as good a reason as any. We'll get to that. I'm in the middle of the swamp right now. I am in D.C. and the swamp is all around me, and Kamala and the Harris wall signs are everywhere. Another reason to vote Trump. At least make these people uncomfortable. I'm hoping we'll get to that, and we'll get to Hillary, who is not handling it well. The polls are looking good, the betting odds are looking great, and Hillary is looking haggard and angry and mean. We'll get to that, and the latest on Dougie Emhoff. We're gonna buck the trend. The media will not report this. They will not. They are the word has gone out. Nothing. Do not tell the Doug Emhoff story. Let's continue to pretend he's just a loving father and a loving husband and a model of masculinity. But we know the real Dougie. We'll get to that and more. But first,
excuse me.
All right, small business owners, listen up. If you're tired of losing money to credit card processing fees, we've got something you need to hear. With 24/7 payments, you can eliminate up to 99% of those fees thanks to their fee elimination program. Here's how it works. You pass the processing fees on to customers who pay with credit cards, and in return, you can offer them a discount for paying with cash or debit. It's a simple, effective, and fully compliant way to save thousands every month. Right now, 24/7 Payments is switching over 250 businesses every month to this program, and they can have you set up in less than 24 hours. Call 855-504-0799 today or visit them on the web at 247payments.com. That's the numbers 247payments.com. Do you want a better way to simplify finance operations for your business across expenses, vendor payments, and accounting? If so, Ramp could be a complete game changer for you. Ramp is the corporate card and spend management software designed to help you save time and put money in your pocket. Ramp gives finance teams unprecedented control and insight into company spend. With Ramp, you're able to issue cards to every employee with limits and restrictions and automate expense reporting so you can stop wasting time at the end of every month. Ramp saves you money. Businesses that use Ramp save an average of 5% on the first year. Ramp is easy to use. Get started, issue virtual and physical cards, and start making payments in less than 15 minutes. Whether you have 5 employees or 5,000, doesn't matter. And now you get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/Gerry. That's ramp.com/Gerry, ramp.com/GERRY. Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank. Member FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. Wow. New York Times poll. National poll. Popular vote. Tied. That is bad news. I got a couple of other, I watch all these polls and just jotted down a couple that just opened my eyes. These are not good for Kamala and Tampon Tim. Georgia poll among black men in Georgia, 59-28. That is 31 points. She's losing men, losing black men, losing. She's losing constituencies, voting blocks that she is supposed to win. And here's another one that caught my eye. Among the 7 swing states, this is in a poll, the illegal alien population grew 515%. 500% in the 7 swing states. If that's not an issue, if that doesn't decide make the choice for a good number of people in the swing states, I don't know what will. There are going to be a lot of people who've seen this problem, who've had their neighborhoods, their schools, their hospitals overwhelmed. Democrats, Trump haters, and they're going to say, we can't have 4 more years of this. It isn't sustainable. So, and again, I'm watching CNN right now, and they're reporting national poll, New York Times, even, tied. So Trump could win the national. I don't care if he wins the national vote, the popular vote. It doesn't matter. It never matters. But he's looking good in the swing states. And I think right now, Biden was up 7 or 8. Right now, Trump is tied. Harris is tied. She, and I don't think it's about Trump right now. It is not about Trump. Again, we know Trump. Everyone knows Trump. They know what he'll do. They know what he did. They're getting to know Kamala Harris, and that is bad news. They couldn't hide her forever. They tried. They failed. All right, let's get to Hillary. For the final 11 days. All right, 11. Ironhead. 11's not it's a tough one. Drew Bledsoe, Julie Edelman. Mark Messier is a good number 11. I hate to say it, but the best number 11 is probably Isaiah Thomas.
PJ Axelson,
Larry Fitzgerald, Julio Jones, Kyrie Irving, some good number 11s. Bob McAdoo from my younger days, a great number 11, but it's an okay number. Not as good as 12, but
Gary
11,
Sheffield in New York.
That's true. Gary Sheffield, that's a good one. We got 11 days to go, and there's a reason they're in panic mode in the Kamala camp. They can't think of a way to change things unless, you know, their friends in the media continue to make up stories like the Atlantic magazine made up stories about Trump disparaging Mexicans or praising Hitler. It didn't work. It didn't fly. In fact, there's a group, a big Zoom call with voters and David Halpern, and none of them say it matters. They don't care. They've heard it before. Democrats compare every Republican to Hitler. They bring up Hitler every election cycle. They called Mitt Romney Hitler, George Bush, John McCain, Paul Ryan. They're all Hitler. It's just you've used that one up. So forget about that one. He's not Hitler. He's not even close to Hitler. So it didn't work. Sorry. So there'll be a new one in the next 11 days. Some other hoax, some other made up story, and they will all pretend it's big breaking news. It's a bombshell. It's an October surprise. Maybe that one we told you about yesterday that Halpern said was being shopped. Democrats are shopping a October surprise about Trump. Halpern said he doesn't believe it. He didn't go with it. He's not looking into it because it sounds ridiculous, but it's coming in the next 11 days, and maybe it'll change things, but I doubt it. So Trump goes on Rogan on Friday today, and that'll be interesting. Rogan has 17 million YouTube subscribers. He has 14 million, I believe, Spotify subscribers, followers. So this is going to have traction. And I know Rogan's thinking, what can I talk about that no one else has talked about? And he'll come up with something. Hell, he better for 3 hours. So Trump will make news. Hopefully it's good news. Hopefully it's a good interview. We have some laughs. She is going to continue to hide and continue to do friendly interviews. She can't do, she won't do Trump. Her guy, Ian Sams, announced that they just couldn't agree to a time. It was a scheduling conflict. Here's what really happened. They talked to Rogan's team and they said, here are the rules. You can't ask about Dougie. You can't ask about, her radical policies as San Francisco DA. You can't ask about McDonald's because she never worked there. You can't ask her if she supports abortion in the 9th month. None of that. Here are the things you can ask, and we'll give you 45 minutes. And Rogan said, screw it. No. Thanks anyway. So they said there will be no Rogan interview. She will make her final pitch at the Ellipsis. Gee, what do you in DC, right here where I am? What do you think she'll talk about at the Ellipsis? Let me think. January 6th. Threat to democracy. There was a clip from yesterday. I just sent it to you, Ironhead, of Kamala making a resounding, a raucous speech to her supporters. And I had to look, say, was this a week ago, 2 weeks ago, a month ago? She has no more material. She's out of ideas. She's out of gas. She's got nothing left. Again, ranting about never again. Here's the other problem they have. Angry Kamala doesn't work. Angry Kamala is very unlikable. Very, very unappealing. The angry Kamala. Do you have this clip? This is new. And again, I hope she has this memorized by now because it's all she does. That's all she has.
And Trump said, quote, Hitler did some good things. And that Trump wished he had generals like Hitler's who would be loyal to Trump and not to America's Constitution. This is not 2016 and it is not 2020. Including because just a few months ago, the United States Supreme Court told the former president that he is effectively immune no matter what he does in the White House. Now just imagine Donald Trump with no guardrails. He who will claim unchecked and extreme power if he is reelected, who has vowed that he will be a dictator on day one, who calls Americans who disagree with him, I'm going to quote, the enemy from within. You know what that harkens back to? He's calling Americans the enemy within, who says that he would use the military to go after them. And he who has called for the, quote, termination of the Constitution of the United States. Let us be very clear. Someone who suggests we should terminate the Constitution of the United States of America should never again stand behind the seal of the President of the United States of America.
Never again. Never again. She's a cartoon character at this point. That's new. That's all she's got. I did the countdown. There was 8 lies and or hoaxes in that one thing. 8, praise Hitler, terminate the Constitution. I mean, once they're done with the hoaxes and lies, what do they have? A woman that supports abortion in the 9th month, a woman that opened the border, a woman that wanted to give Medicaid to illegal aliens, a woman that wants to give trans surgeries to prisoners and illegal aliens. I mean, they have a radical leftist and a really dumb one. That's what they got. That's what they're left with. A terrible candidate who, again, was rejected 4 years ago, who was a terrible vice president. They did their best to clean that mess up for 2 months. And then they said, I guess we got to let the public see her, get to know her a little bit. And they did. They got to know her, and they said she cannot do the job. But they're not done with Hitler. Trump is speaking at Madison Square Garden on Sunday. Now, what do you think of when you think of Madison Square Garden? I think of like the Big East tournament or big playoff games, Stanley Cup games or NBA Finals games. I think of the lots of events. I think of Billy Joel when I think of Madison Square Garden. Billy Joel has his residence there where he plays once a month for years, makes a fortune. When Hillary Clinton thinks of Madison Square Garden, she thinks of Hitler. This is so deranged. So she goes on with Caitlin Collins on CNN and says, Trump speaking in New York City, which you can question it. He's not going to win New York City. He's not going to win New York State, but it's kind of a big deal. And it's not a big inconvenience. He's probably going to be staying in New York. So he's going to do a rally and it'll get lots of media attention. It's in the media capital. So he's going to do a rally. He's going to bang out Madison Square Garden, probably have a few celebrity supporters there with him. She says he's doing it because what else? Hitler. Listen to this absolute deranged, angry, bitter old woman. Go ahead.
One other thing that you'll see next week, Caitlin, is Trump actually reenacting the Madison Square Garden rally in 1939. I write about this in my book. President Franklin Roosevelt was appalled that neo-Nazis, fascists in America were lining up to essentially pledge their support for the kind of government that they were seeing in Germany. So I don't think we can ignore it.
Now, would you care to guess where Bill Clinton accepted the nomination for the Democrat Party as their candidate for president in 1992? Take a wild guess, Ironhead. Where was Clinton when he accepted the nomination?
Some underage brothel in the middle of the woods with other celebrities?
No, if you guessed Epstein Island, you were wrong. No, he was there a lot, but he wasn't there on this day, on that night. He was at Madison Square Garden reenacting that neo-Nazi rally in New York City. What? I mean, honest to God, she's just a basket case. He's just he's ruining these people. He's destroying their souls. The thought that he could take control again in January has just destroyed them. And it is so fun to watch. I got to say, I love it. All right. Well, another celebrity, big celebrity chimed in on this race. And he said he's with Trump. And he explained why. His reason? Kamala's as dumb as a fence post. That's what he said. We'll tell you who that is. And again, we'll get to Dougie. We must get to Dougie, the latest on Dougie, the guy, the real Doug Emhoff. We'll tell you about that.
Excuse me.
Do you wake up in the morning with a sore jaw, headaches, or ringing in your ears from grinding and clenching your teeth at night? I've been through this. It's fairly common, and dentists charge $600 for a bruxism night guard. Many people are now discovering the Brux Night Guard. Unlike regular night guards that go all the way to the back of the teeth, Brux Night Guard only covers the front teeth. This unique design is what sets Brux Night Guard apart from all other guards. It only covers the front teeth, so the bite force is directed away from the back, where many people grind and clench to help reduce jaw pain and still protect the teeth. You mold it at home to the top and bottom teeth. And unlike other guards, it is made in America and uses 2 materials for added durability. Order a Brux Night Guard today and use the code MAX22 to get 10% off plus free shipping. Go to bruxnightguard.com and enter the code word MAX22. As we mentioned, Kamala had Springsteen, Tyler Perry, Samuel L. Jackson. She's got Beyonce playing with her. By the way, there's a great video. Once Springsteen was done and Obama was done, Kamala takes the stage and they show the people heading to the exits. People showed up for a free concert and to hear, Barack speak. But when Kamala took the stage, they headed out. They took off. That's kind of where we're at. She needs celebrities. He doesn't. Trump bags these places out just on his own stand-up comedy routines. But I wonder if she'll send Dougie out there. She needs to shore up support among men. We know that. She is struggling badly among men. And we know Dougie is the model of masculinity. I shouldn't be surprised. We know how corrupt the media is. We played you that clip from CNN where Scott Jennings just mentioned Doug Emhoff's checkered history with women, and they just shut him down. So they followed up the story of Doug Emhoff smacking his girlfriend in front of a bunch of people. And there were, obviously the story was very detailed. There's much more evidence that Doug Emhoff knocked up his nanny and smacked his girlfriend than there is that Trump ever laid a finger on E. Jean Carroll. There's much more evidence that Doug Emhoff assaulted his girlfriend than Brett Kavanaugh ever even met Christine Blasey Ford back when we used to believe all women. We don't believe all women anymore. No, not this woman. This is from the New York Post yesterday. A former girlfriend of Doug Emhoff said she was left, quote, embarrassed and humiliated when he slapped her following a gala dinner at Cannes Film Festival in the south of France, adding that the husband of the vice president has maintained a, quote, completely fabricated persona as a public figure. The woman, a New York attorney, told the Daily Mail in an interview published Thursday that she was trying to hand a valet the equivalent of $100 to get her and Emhoff to the head of the taxi line when her boyfriend struck. Quote, as I'm talking to him, Doug got out of the line, comes up, turns me around by my right shoulder. I'm completely caught off guard. I'm not bracing. I'm in 4-inch heels wearing a full-length gown. It's between 2 and 3 a.m. And he slaps me so hard, I spin around and I'm in utter shock. Now, this has been corroborated by 3 witnesses who, and all kinds of other details, her itinerary, her flight, her plane, they were there. Everyone knows it. People were there. They saw it. They said they saw it. And the media is in complete blackout mode. She says, quote, There'd been no fight, no argument. In that moment, his mask had dropped and I saw his dark side. 3 friends came forward with the initial allegations against Emhoff. 2 of them heard about the purported slap immediately after the incident. 1 talked about it 6 years later. That sounds like a long time, but E. Jean Carroll came up with her fairy tale about Trump raping her in a department store dressing room 30 years after she alleged took place. And now every Kamala supporter is saying, Trump's a rapist. He's a rapist. So the victim, they call her Jane, writes, what's frightening for a woman that's been on the other end of it is watching the completely fabricated persona being portrayed of Emhoff. A spokesman for Emhoff vehemently denied the accusations, telling Semaphore, quote, any suggestion that he would or has ever hit a woman is false. Now, you can run with that. You could say, I don't believe it, but don't you have to report it? Isn't it a story? When a prominent New York attorney, this is no questionable whatever figure that what did James Carville say? Trailer trash. No, this is a prominent New York attorney, and she has a story to tell, and nobody will tell it. At least not till November 6th. They're going to keep this quiet. Only the New York Post and the Daily Mail will touch it. I don't think even Fox News. I don't think anyone other than the New York Post and the Daily Mail will touch it. But sounds credible to me. But that's who is out there as your model for masculinity. And he's making appearances with Ben Stiller and Andy Cohen, promising if you vote for Kamala, he will make sure that your daughters are allowed to kill their babies. That's the big pitch in the closing moments. So one celebrity who wasn't on stage, who wasn't looking for attention, he's not campaigning, he's not making campaign, he's not singing songs. He was just walking to an airport, and some citizen journalist runs up. Maybe it was a TMZ guy, but somebody runs up to Mel Gibson and asks him about the election. And Mel Gibson, I'd say, he's at that point where he just doesn't give a damn. He's at that. He's got FU money, and I don't think he's worried about his career at this point. And he tells you where he stands on the election. Let's watch.
Being voted on in days. What's your thoughts?
Oh man, that's a big question.
What Trump?
I don't think it's going to surprise anyone who I vote for.
Well, so I mean, I'm gonna guess. Let me go in. Yeah. I'm gonna guess Trump. Is that a bad guess?
I think it's a pretty good guess.
Well, what do you think the world will be like in a second term with President Trump's second term? A lot of people.
I know what it'll be like if we let her in.
Yeah. Oh, really?
And that ain't good.
Yeah. Well,
miserable track record, appalling track record, no policies to speak of.
Yeah. And the border, right?
And she's got the IQ of a fence post.
She's got the IQ of a fence post. He's right. No lies detected from William Wallace there. And I give him credit. When the guy ran after him, I thought Mel would just blow him off and say, I'm trying to get leave me alone. But he said, no policies to speak of, correct. And IQ of a fence post, correct again. And all she's got is, celebrities who just feel the vibe and hate Trump. That is about it. There's nobody who thinks she's a good candidate. They just hate Trump. Or, as I mentioned, where I am right now, they are worried about their phony baloney jobs. I was walking by the FBI building yesterday. I'm in D.C. for the Marine Corps Marathon, 10K. It's like the greatest marathon, which I have never done and could never do. But there's a 10K, for people like me. I'm not even sure I'm going to do it. I got a little hip thing going on. It's not, it's not healthy at my age to be running, but it's just an awesome event. I wanted to be here for it. It's the coolest road race there is. It finishes right at Arlington Cemetery. If you haven't done it, you should do it. They have a 10K. They have a marathon. They have a bunch of other Marine Corps races, and they're all just spectacular. So I love walking around DC. I just love all the history and just the vibe. You feel like you're in the center of the universe. But it's one building after another, full of just deep state swamp creatures, Department of Education and Department of Justice and, this labor. And they all have these big ornate buildings. And, in those buildings, they're like the world headquarters for Trump derangement syndrome. They're worried that if he wins, he might shake things up, which is his greatest appeal, that he makes these people uncomfortable, that he makes the privileged, the entitled uncomfortable. And like I said, Harris signs everywhere. I didn't see one Trump sign last night. We were all over the place, in office windows, and there's, townhouses, and they're all rooting to keep the gravy train going. And I can't think of a better reason. There are a lot of good reasons to vote for Trump. I can't think of a better one than to make these people uncomfortable. Elon Musk is coming. I think that should be a closing message from Trump. I hope it is. Elon Musk and Donald Trump and RFK and Tulsi Gabbard, they're coming. They know this time. He learned last time. He learned who he can trust and not trust. I think it'll be different this time. I think he will actually, he won't hire people like John Kelly or Mark Esper or any of these swamp creatures. I hope he'll do better. He'll do better, and he will make these people, do their jobs. Maybe he'll fire them. I hope so. God knows there's a lot of waste around this place, but I hope they're all heartbroken on November 6th. And maybe I'll come back January 20th just to be here. I was here in 2017 for the inauguration, and it was wild. They surrounded the Trump Hotel, which is no longer the Trump Hotel. Now it's a Waldorf Astoria. They forced him to unload it, but they were just running wild. They were lighting cars on fire. That was a precursor. That was a preview of what's to come. It's going to be nuts on January 20th in DC. And then, by the way, here's the other thing that's going to happen November 6th. Election denialism will become a patriotic act. It was treason when Trump and his guys did it. But on November 6th, when Hillary does it, and Kamala and Joe and Barack and Jamie Raskin, when they do it, it'll be a patriotic. It's the most patriotic thing to deny election results. It's the American way. Get ready for that. All right, that will do it. And you know what I want to do? Can you play Springsteen? I want to know what is he supposed to accomplish? Again, I used to love Springsteen. I still love a lot of his songs. I still listen to him. But he's a broken old man at this point. He takes the stage. I think this is in Atlanta. Takes the stage by himself with an acoustic guitar. And I'm not sure what this is supposed to accomplish. Who does this persuade? Who hears this song? Lots of people like Springsteen, but lots hate him. They don't like him. They think he's overrated. Who does he persuade? Who does he win over by taking the stage and singing a song for Kamala, for the Kamala crowd? Watch this and tell me if you think this worked. Go ahead.
Now it's time for some entertainment. Here we go. I get up in the evening and I ain't got nothing to say. Come home in the morning, I go to bed feeling the same way. I ain't nothing but tired. Man, I'm just tired and bored with myself. Yeah, baby. I could use just a little help now. You can't start a fire. You can't start a fire without a a spark. This gun's for hire, even if we're just dancing in the dark.
That song is 40 years old. That singer is 75 years old. Where's the E Street Band, by the way? Why don't they do do the whole thing? Why does he sing something newer, singing something more upbeat? He's getting just eviscerated for that performance. I don't think it worked. I don't think it energized the Kamala Harris campaign. But we will find out. We will see, and we'll be listening to Joe Rogan. I'm ready to devote 3 hours to Joe Rogan today. Probably won't go 3 hours. Probably, I don't know, 2.5. But that will be interesting. And we don't have to watch Kamala because she says the same exact thing at every rally, every speech. Just isn't working. And they have no answers. And it's a glorious thing to watch. But that will do it for today and for this week. Hey, last night, Ironhead, another NFL game ruined by the refs. I'm not saying the Vikings were to come back, but a blatant face mask in the end zone. They call it a safety. They somehow miss a face mask. It's like the most obvious penalty, face mask. Everyone could see it. The players, the guy who did it knew he did it. But somehow the refs missed that one and the Rams prevailed. And now all anyone's talking about is the refs. They get involved. They get in the way virtually every game these days. The officiating is terrible. But I still watch. All right, that will do it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we will do it again Monday morning.